Have you ever stayed silent just to avoid drama? Swallowed your pain just to keep the peace? Hid your feelings because you were scared of being judged, rejected, or misunderstood? If yes, you're not alone. So many of us fear conflict, not because we're weak, but because we've been taught that avoiding it is safer. But what if that fear is the very thing keeping you stuck? What if the peace you're protecting isn't real peace, but quiet pain? In this video, we're going to talk about something that can change your emotional and spiritual life forever: the fear of conflict. Islam doesn't teach you to hide or run away from difficulty. Islam teaches you to rise, to speak with wisdom, and to stand for what is right, with dignity, patience, and strength. Because here's the truth: conflict is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it is the exact moment where your strength grows, where your voice becomes clear, and where Allah opens doors for your healing. The fear you feel? It's real, but it's not from Allah. Allah is the one who gives courage, not fear. And today, we'll explore how trusting Him can help you face conflict with calmness, courage, and clarity. So if you want to live free from fear, from people-pleasing, from emotional pressure, then this message is for you. Let's go deep into the wisdom of Islam, uncover the strength within you, and learn how conflict, when handled the right way, can actually set your soul free. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Deen Xplorers for more heart-touching Islamic content. 1. Conflict is not the enemy, false peace is. There are moments in life when everything around us seems calm, but our heart is not. We stay silent to avoid upsetting others. We smile, even when something hurts. We hold back our words, thinking that staying quiet is the better path. Many people believe that by avoiding problems, they are choosing peace. But is it really peace if you are suffering inside? Is it truly calm if your soul is crying, your rights are ignored, and your voice is unheard? That is not peace. That is fear wearing the mask of peace. Islam doesn't ask us to live in fear of conflict. In fact, Islam is a religion of truth. And sometimes, truth shakes the ground before it brings comfort. Sometimes, it hurts before it heals. False peace is when everything looks fine from the outside, but people are hurt, confused, or treated unfairly. Real peace is built on honesty, fairness, and courage. Without those, peace is just an illusion. Avoiding every difficult conversation doesn't mean you are wise. It might mean you are scared. And fear, if not controlled, makes us accept things that are not right. It makes us allow things that go against our faith, our dignity, and our purpose. You were not born to live in fear. You were not created to always stay quiet while your heart aches and your rights are taken. Allah did not choose you to live like a prisoner in your own mind. Sometimes, standing up for what is right will disturb others. Speaking the truth may upset those who benefit from your silence. But remember, the goal of a believer is not to keep everyone happy. It is to please Allah. And Allah loves those who stand for justice, even when it is difficult. Even when it means you may lose friends, face rejection, or be misunderstood. Because those who speak the truth for the sake of Allah are never truly alone. Truth is more important than approval. And Allah is more pleased with your honesty than your silence. You are not here to avoid every difficult moment. You are here to grow, to lead, and to shine through them. So never mistake false peace for true peace. If your silence is making you weak, it is not peace. It is a cage, and you were not made to live in chains. The day you stop fearing conflict is the day you begin to live with freedom. Not freedom from problems, but freedom from fear. That's the kind of peace Islam calls us to, a peace that begins with truth. 2. Islam teaches you to be courageous, not cowardly. Courage is not about how loud your voice is. It is not about winning every argument or proving others wrong. Real courage is when you do what is right even when it scares you. It is when you keep walking in the path of truth, even when others try to stop you. Courage in Islam is the strength to stand firm in your faith, your values, and your responsibilities. no matter what the world says. Many people misunderstand what it means to be peaceful. They think that staying silent, avoiding problems, or never confronting wrong actions means they are being kind or patient. But in reality, it may be a sign of fear, not peace. Islam doesn't teach us to run away from difficulty. Islam teaches us to face it with wisdom and strength. Cowardice is not a part of the character of a believer. A Muslim must learn to speak gently but firmly, to act kindly but bravely. Many times in life, we fear speaking up. We are afraid to say no when something feels wrong. We are afraid to ask for our rights. We fear that people might not like us anymore. We fear rejection. But if we live in fear, we are not truly living. We are only surviving. And Allah did not create you to live in fear of people. He created you to walk with strength, knowing that He is always with you. There are situations where your silence allows falsehood to grow. When you don't stand for your faith, your family, or your dignity, you allow fear to control your life. But the moment you choose to trust Allah and stand up with courage, your life begins to change. Fear loses its power, and your soul starts to rise. That is what Islam wants for you. Not a life of fear, but a life of bravery wrapped in trust. Courage in Islam doesn't mean shouting or arguing. It doesn't mean looking down on others. It means facing your pain, your trials, your enemies, and even your inner doubts, with your head held high and your heart connected to Allah. When you remember that nothing happens without His will, you stop fearing people. You start trusting your Creator more than His creation. So choose courage today, not because the path is easy, but because your heart is stronger than your fear. Don't let your voice die in your throat. Don't let your soul shrink just to make others feel comfortable. Your courage could be the reason someone else finds strength. Your bravery could be the beginning of someone else's healing. 3. Conflict can be a door to growth. Most people believe that conflict is something to avoid. It feels uncomfortable. It brings out emotions. It can lead to misunderstandings. So we try to stay away from it. We keep quiet, walk away, or hide our feelings, just to keep things peaceful. But sometimes that silence doesn't protect you. It limits you. Sometimes conflict is not your enemy. It is your teacher. In Islam, growth comes through struggle. Nothing valuable comes easily. Even gold is purified through fire. In the same way, your character, your strength, your patience, and your wisdom are all tested and developed through difficulty. Conflict, when handled with a sincere heart and pure intentions, can be a door that opens to a stronger you. It can teach you who you are, what matters most to you, and how much more you are capable of. Think about your own life. Some of the biggest lessons you've learned may have come after a hard conversation or a painful situation. That moment you stood up for yourself. That time you forgave someone who hurt you. That season when people misunderstood you, but you still kept going. Those moments may have been born from conflict, but they shaped you into who you are today. Without them, you would still be hiding parts of yourself. Without them, you would still be afraid to speak your truth. Islam doesn't ask us to fear conflict. It asks us to walk through it with faith and wisdom. If someone wrongs you, you are allowed to speak up. If you see injustice, you are encouraged to stop it. If you are struggling in a relationship, you are advised to talk it out with honesty and respect. Conflict doesn't mean destruction. It means something needs attention, healing, or change. And that change might be what Allah wants for you. Sometimes, what feels like a conflict is actually a blessing in disguise. It reveals who truly cares for you. It shows who respects your values. It exposes what needs to be healed inside of you. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and helps you set better boundaries. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is Allah teaching me through this?" Because nothing happens without His plan. And His plan is always for your growth, not your destruction. When you go through conflict with a clean heart, Allah rewards you. He increases your patience, opens your understanding, and builds your strength. You learn how to stay calm when others panic. You learn how to control your words when emotions rise. You learn how to hold on to your dignity even in the middle of tension. These are the signs of a believer who is growing, not just surviving. Don't be afraid of conflict anymore. Let it guide you to a better version of yourself. Don't see it as a punishment. See it as preparation. Maybe Allah is using it to remove your fear, polish your patience, or test your character. Maybe this is how He is turning you into someone more powerful, more wise, and more sincere. 4. Speaking up for yourself is an act of iman. Many people believe that being quiet all the time is a sign of good character. They think that keeping their pain hidden, allowing others to walk over them, and never saying no makes them strong. But Islam teaches a deeper truth. Your silence is not always a sign of piety. In fact, sometimes staying silent allows injustice to continue. Speaking up for yourself with respect, dignity, and truth is not just a right. It is an act of iman, your faith in Allah. When you speak up for yourself, you are honoring the soul that Allah gave you. You are protecting your self-worth, your dignity, and your boundaries. Allah did not create you to be stepped on. He made you valuable. He made you worthy. And He gave you a voice not to keep it buried, but to use it wisely. Your silence should not come from fear. It should come from wisdom. And when silence leads to harm or oppression, then speaking is a duty. When you speak up for yourself, you are also setting an example for others. You are teaching people how to treat you. You are teaching your children, your friends, and your community that Islam values fairness and justice. If you let people mistreat you, ignore your needs, or walk over your emotions, and you stay silent out of fear, you are not helping anyone. You are only growing your own wounds. But if you speak up kindly and clearly, you are healing yourself, and maybe others too. There is nothing humble about letting someone take advantage of you. True humility is knowing your worth and still choosing to respond with grace. It's knowing when to stay silent and when to speak. It's having the courage to say, "That is not okay," even if your voice shakes. That courage is not pride. It is a reflection of your iman. Because you are trusting that Allah will support you when you stand up for what is right. Some people are afraid that speaking up will make others leave them. But if someone walks away because you expressed your needs or protected your boundaries, then they were not meant to stay. You are not here to live as a slave to people's opinions. You are here to serve Allah, to protect your soul, and to walk with honor. And speaking up when needed is part of that journey. So speak up. Not to shout or argue, but to protect the blessing Allah gave you, your soul. Speak up, not to control others, but to guard your peace. Speak up, not to win, but to stay true to yourself. And remember, every time you stand up with courage, Allah is with you. He sees your strength, He knows your intention, and He will reward every brave word that came from your heart with sincerity. 5. Allah loves those who are just in conflict. It is easy to be kind when life is calm. It's simple to smile when everyone agrees with you. But the true test of your character, your faith, and your heart comes when conflict enters your life. When emotions rise and misunderstandings happen, that's when your soul is tested. In those moments, what you choose to do matters deeply. And Islam teaches us something very powerful. Even in conflict, you must remain just. Because justice is not only a rule, it is a beloved act of worship. Allah loves those who are just, especially when it is hardest to be. Conflict can push your buttons. It can make your ego rise. It can make your heart beat faster and your tongue sharper. But a believer remembers that their goal is not to win the fight, but to win the pleasure of Allah. A believer's aim is not to crush the other person, but to remain upright, fair, and truthful, even when they are hurt. That is not weakness. That is spiritual strength. Sometimes during an argument, people go too far. They insult, they lie, they twist the truth to protect themselves. But in Islam, we are not allowed to become oppressors just because we were hurt. We are not allowed to cross the limits of justice even when we feel angry. Why? Because Allah is watching. He sees the whole picture, and He knows who remain just when they had the chance to be cruel. Being just doesn't mean you don't speak up. It means you speak the truth without hatred. It doesn't mean you allow wrong to continue. It means you deal with it in a fair and wise way. Islam teaches us that our character in conflict shows who we really are. It's easy to claim piety when you are alone, but when someone offends you, ignores you, or challenges you, that is when your real faith appears. Justice doesn't mean both sides are always equal. It means giving each person their due right. Sometimes you may be right, but how you deliver your truth makes all the difference. Yelling, blaming, and hurting others is not the way of a believer. Sometimes in conflict, the other person will not apologize. They will not understand you. They may even blame you for what they did wrong. But you are not responsible for their behavior. You are responsible for your own actions. Don't lose your reward by falling into their darkness. Rise above. Stay just. Speak with truth. And trust that Allah will bring clarity in time. Justice brings peace, even if the conflict doesn't end right away. It brings calmness in your heart because you know you did the right thing. And when you do what pleases Allah, He protects you, comforts you, and lifts you higher than any apology or explanation can. So whenever you face conflict, pause. Ask yourself, am I being fair? Am I crossing the limits? Am I doing this for my ego or for Allah? Let those questions guide you. Let your actions be a mirror of your faith. Because the one who remains just, even in conflict, is never a loser in the sight of Allah. So now you know, conflict is not your enemy. Fear is. And the moment you stop letting fear control your voice, your choices, and your peace, that's the moment you start living with real freedom. Islam never asks you to stay silent in pain. It asks you to rise with wisdom, to speak with justice, and to trust Allah in every moment of discomfort. Because every time you face conflict with faith, you grow, you heal, you move closer to becoming the person Allah knows you can be. And even if the world doesn't understand you, your Lord always does. Let your heart be brave. Let your words be honest. Let your actions be for Allah alone. And never forget, true peace doesn't come from avoiding problems. It comes from facing them with trust in the one who holds your future. Thank you for watching. If this message touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe to Deen Xplorers.